Every human being is born with vast potential, yet most live far below it, not because they lack ability, but because their inner world is wrapped in a psychological cocoon. This cocoon is not made of silk, but of 6 powerful mental-emotional layers that silently confine the mind and limit self-expression. These 6 layers are: 1. Self-minimization, the tendency to see oneself as small, average, or unworthy. This subtle belief clips our wings before we even attempt to fly. 2. Fear of failure, a deep resistance to risk, rooted in the belief that failure is a personal flaw rather than a stepping stone. 3. Fear of criticism. Anxiety over being judged, rejected, or misunderstood keeps us playing safe and prevents authentic action. 4. Lack of resources, the belief that we don't have enough time, money, support, or opportunity to move forward. This perception creates paralysis more than any real lack. 5. Lack of knowledge, a sense of inadequacy due to missing information or experience, often masking the truth that learning is always available. 6. Lack of vision. Perhaps the most limiting of all, this is the inability to see beyond our current state, to imagine a greater future or to believe in it. Together, these 6 elements form a mental cocoon, soft to the touch, but firm in its grip. We don't always recognize this cocoon because we've lived in it for so long, but the more we become aware of it, the more we begin to feel the quiet longing for freedom. Freedom begins with awareness. As we name each layer, we loosen its hold. With courage, education, and inner work, we can emerge, more open, more conscious, and more capable of stepping into success on our own terms. True success doesn't come from fighting the world, but from freeing the mind. So, if you want to change yourself to transform into a successful person with an open, nature-aligned mindset, let's explore the most important principles to apply for inner transformation. Let's start right now. Principle 1. Go with the flow. There is a quiet metaphor that has flowed through the minds of poets and philosophers alike: life as a river and the self as a boat. It is a simple image, but behind its still waters lies a powerful truth, a truth about direction, effort, and the nature of inner transformation. Imagine standing by the banks of such a river. You watch boats of all kinds drifting by, some large, some fragile, some moving with ease, others battling the current. And then imagine yourself as one of those boats. What do you see? In the West, this metaphor echoes the individualistic but deeply existential journey that defines so much of our culture. The river represents the current of life: social norms, historical forces, family expectations, spiritual laws, and the unseen patterns that shape our days. It flows constantly, sometimes gently, sometimes with chaos. Now your boat. It is not just your body. It is your will, your beliefs, your capacity to choose. And as the river flows, you have choices. Do you let yourself drift? Do you resist the current? Do you steer? There are 3 stories told by this metaphor. The first is the story of alignment. The river flows in the direction you want to go. You point your boat from point A to point B, and the current helps. You row, and you go faster. You rest, and you still progress. In modern psychology, this state is called flow, when the external world and internal intention move in harmony. Artists feel it. Athletes chase it. In life, when your purpose aligns with your path, movement becomes natural. The second story is more subtle. The river is still flowing with you, but your boat has no rudder. You float, aimless. This is the modern malaise: people with resources, education, even privilege, but no clarity. Life feels comfortable, but meaningless. We see this in the quiet despair of those who have everything, yet feel hollow. The river is kind, but without a destination, the journey is lost. The third story is of resistance. The river moves against you. You want to go forward, but the current pulls you back. You paddle furiously, perhaps with great discipline, but unless you are very strong, very equipped, or very lucky, you will not reach your destination. And if you stop, if you rest, you return to where you began. This story feels familiar to many. How often do we pour effort into systems that resist us? How often do we chase goals that contradict our deepest values? In Western culture, we often glorify the grind, but effort without alignment can be self-destructive. Struggle is not always noble. Sometimes it is a sign that we are rowing in the wrong direction. So what then? The answer lies in awareness, in reflection, in asking the essential question, am I moving with life or against it? Not all resistance is bad, of course. Sometimes the soul grows strongest in adversity. But without a guiding inner compass, a sense of higher truth, we are likely to confuse hardship with virtue, busyness with progress. What this metaphor teaches us is that the river cannot be controlled, but our boat can be guided, strengthened, equipped. This is the journey of inner growth. We may not be able to change the world around us, but we can become more skillful navigators. We can learn to sense when to paddle, when to rest, when to adjust course, and when to let go. And perhaps, most importantly, we can learn to recognize the difference between resistance that strengthens us and resistance that steals our soul. So the next time life feels like a struggle, pause. Ask yourself, am I drifting? Am I resisting truth? Or am I finally learning to steer? Because the river will keep flowing. But whether your boat reaches the right shore, that is up to you. So let's see what we have learned. 1. Life is not a straight line. It is a current. The metaphor of the river reminds us that life is constantly moving. We are not static beings. We are part of a larger flow of time, change, and influence. 2. Alignment is more powerful than effort alone. When our goals align with the natural direction of life, the river's flow, we progress more easily, even with less effort. Working against that flow, no matter how hard, can lead to exhaustion and stagnation. 3. Self-awareness is the compass. To navigate wisely, we must reflect. Are we drifting aimlessly? Are we resisting for the sake of pride or fear? Or are we rowing with clarity, purpose, and trust in a deeper rhythm of life? 4. Inner transformation matters more than external conditions. Whether the current is with or against us, a well-built guided boat, symbolizing emotional maturity, clarity of values, and resilience, can still reach its destination. 5. Stillness and surrender can be as powerful as action. Sometimes the wisest move is not more effort, but more listening. Letting go is not defeat. It is often the doorway to harmony. The principle of go with the flow teaches us that wisdom is not just in doing, but in aligning. Like a boat on a river, our journey becomes smoother, swifter, and more meaningful when we move in harmony with natural rhythms, whether they be spiritual truths, universal laws, or simply the deeper callings of our own soul. Struggle has its place, but when we constantly resist what is, we miss the grace that comes from surrender. Instead of obsessing over controlling the river, we learn to guide the boat with clarity, humility, and trust. In the end, we don't control the river, but we do get to choose how we travel. All right, now take a moment to sit down, find a quiet space, and reflect on whether you've applied this principle in your life before and what its effects were. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below. We'll catch up again in the next video, where we'll discuss the second principle, the principle of light. See you soon.